So this is the second part of our videos on section 2.1 and 2.2. So we're still talking about adding and subtracting sign numbers, but this time we're going to talk about what I call double sign problems. So what I mean is problems like this. So in the previous video we had things like -2 plus 3. So you had a -2, you had a sign in between, and then another number. Well, here what we have is, this is why I call it a double sign. So it's where you have a signed number and then two signs next to each other with no number in between. There's a parentheses in there, but no number in between. And so that's what I'm calling a double sign problem. And what we're going to do is reduce that down to a single sign, and then you can do it like you did before. So when I say double sign, I don't mean how many signs there are in the whole expression. I'm talking about two signs that are right next to each other. We're going to take those two signs and replace them with one sign. So that's just what we just talked about. So here's the rules you're going to use for a double sign. If the two signs are right next to each other and they're different, you're going to replace them with a negative sign. And if the signs are the same, they're right next to each other, but they're the same sign, you're going to replace them with a positive sign. Now, one of my students didn't like the way I explained that and wrote this on her paper, and I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it, so I added that on here. She thought it was more clear to just say, look, if you had a plus and a minus, it becomes a minus. And if you had a minus and a plus, it becomes a minus. If you have minus minus, it becomes a plus. Plus a positive becomes a plus. Whichever way makes the most sense to you, but they're both saying the same thing. So we're going to try that out. So here we have -6 plus a -5. And so we take our double sign here and we look at it, and that's a case where the signs are different. And so that double sign of plus minus got replaced with just the minus sign. And then when you look at that problem, -6 minus 5, you're going to go back to what we did in the previous video. You're going to start at -6, go in the negative direction 5, and so that one's going to wind up as -11. If you don't know how to do that, watch the previous video. Okay, so this 8 minus a -4, we have a double sign there, minus a negative. There, the signs are the same. And so we're going to replace it with a positive. So that double sign became a plus sign. So 8 minus a -4 became 8 plus 4. You probably don't need the number line to do that, but you could do it on the number line like we did in the last video, and you end up with 12. So take another example, 5 minus a -3. Signs are the same, so it becomes -5 plus 3. Then we do that on the number line like we did before. We're going to start at -5, go in the positive direction by 3 jumps, and we would wind up at -2. So that's -2. Here, -6 plus a -4, signs are different. So it's going to become -6 minus 4, and then you're going to use the number line to solve that. So when you have more than one of these in a row, the first thing you're going to do is scan it, look for the double signs. Here I have a double sign. The signs are different, so I'm going to replace it with a minus. And so I'm going to have -7 -4 +19. And then I just take them in pairs, so -7 -4, if you did that on your number line, you'd wind up with -11. And then we take -11, now we're going to bring this down, +19. We do that on a number line, we'll end up at +8. By the way, on my website, there's a printout of several number lines that you can bring it up, print it out, and use that if you want to while you're practicing these. There's a word problem. Debbie is spelunking, exploring an underground cave. Her current elevation is 253 feet below sea level. If she climbs 48 feet up to the next level, what will be her elevation? So if you think of, she's in a cave, this is going to be ground level, which if we think of it as a number line, that's 0. So she's at -253, and then she climbs up, so in the positive direction, 48. What will be your elevation? So the math problem we're doing is -253 plus 48. And when we do that, we're going to get less negative by 48 feet. And so we're going to end up at -205 feet. So now she's going to be 205 feet below sea level.